Can we talk about some nerdy stuff?
Yeah, why do you want me to finish the story?
Yeah,
dude, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, okay.
I'm the worst.
That sounded like such a jerk when I said that. Do you want me to finish?
Do you want me to finish this freaking story, Tom?
Oh man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so now I've started a new company called Blackbox.
Dude.
And that's going good. That's the end of the story.
Okay.
Are you going to tell us?
Yeah.
Dude, stop. You're making me feel terrible how you just said that.
Blackbox is, so I circled up some guys that were doing what Blackbox does, is essentially helping churches. But what we do is we get in between the church and manufacturers and integration companies, and we just help everybody communicate, and we help the church make sure they've got the right design systems that they need, help the integrators know how to communicate to the church, translate the vision, and design the large key components for systems. So like I was in Phoenix yesterday helping a church with acoustics and a PA.
Nice.
There's another church in Indiana that's going to do a big PA upgrade. So
I think I know who they are.
Yeah, maybe.
Are they in?
We'll see. I can't tell you.
Carmel?
No.
Are they near Indianapolis?
I don't know. Okay. I'm not allowed to talk about it yet.
Let it go, Tom.
Yeah.
All right.
There's only one large city in Indiana, so that'd be tough to like screw up. But,
what if I just kept asking?
Gary,
why does this Indianapolis church matter?
It's where Sweetwater is.
We do that for audio, video, lighting, acoustics.
Dude, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
But
much needed.
It's kind of like an agency, so I've got a bunch of guys that are a part of it.
Okay.
So, you basically get the resources of everybody. So if a church is talking to me and they're like, "Oh, some video," and I'm like, "Yeah, we got Shep and Rusty Anderson and a bunch of other smart guys," and then
awesome.
We just kind of get in the middle. I could be considered like a modern day consulting agency.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's a much needed consulting agency,
but it's really different. Like the way we build the church is really different. We're pretty fiduciary. We're not taking money from integrators.
Yeah, how do you make money?
We just charge the church a flat fee. So whether they spend $1 million or they spend $100,000, it's the same fee.
Nice.
So that we're not motivated for a church to go like,
yeah,
you
go
really
buy
need
the
K2.
D&B rig. Yeah.
We got this 1,800 seat room. I think we need 24.
Right.
We give Lucas so much.
Yeah, I know.
My gosh, for having that system.
That's honestly, it de-incentivizes and kind of puts some trust in your process.
Right. Totally.
And you can help the church speak the language of technology.
Yeah. And then we have a pro services side of the company for manufacturers and brands, because all of our guys have large followings online and they make content. So we do brand partnerships for companies.
Nice.
So make content about a new microphone for somebody or whatever. Those lines don't cross when it goes to helping a church design a system.
Yeah.
There's no overlap there. It's separate. So yeah.
Got it. So that's another like revenue model is those partnerships. Dude, that's so cool.
So that's cool. And then, like I said, I'm an idea guy. So I've always got other stuff, and I got a couple other things I'm cooking up too.
Dude, that's
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
Did you like the experience of like running a business?
I do. I love starting things.
Yeah.
I'm not the best finisher. So I do get bored of things easy, and I just want to sell them, like get it up and going and then sell it and move on.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing.
You know what Enneagram type you are?
Yeah, 7. 7, wing 8.
Okay.
I did learn the number, because every time someone would ask me, I would say, what number doesn't care what number they are? And they're like, oh, you're a 7 or an 8. I'm like, and I'm both. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So you like
Heavily
experiences.
Both. Yes.
You like traveling to go to a new golf course. You like...
Dude, I will get on a plane to go have fun with somebody. Like, yeah, I'm there. I'll say yes to everything.
Yes to this.
I overbook myself all the time.
Yeah, we're a bunch of chumps. You came and did this with us, dude.
Right.
I mean... It's perfect.
My fiance all the time, she's like,
speak for yourself, bro.
You committed to too many things. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I say that a lot.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else with your story?
I have a huge question.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
You mix for United.
Yeah.
Dude, that's kind of like the grail of worship jobs.
Okay. Yeah. First thing, James Rudder.
Yeah.
Is
dear friend.
Is
dog.
One of my favorite engineers live of all time. I remember he was the first guy who I was like, I saw as amazing. Him and Sam Gibson and like, that level
of course.
People. It's like, okay. Like I emailed James on his website probably in 2010. Maybe.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, like I saw you use an Avalon 747 on your master chain. Like I have access to one of those because Randy had one at his studio. And he's like, what do you use it for? And I did not expect any response. Within 15 minutes, he emails me back and he's like,
dude,
I don't use any of the compression. I just love the tone and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I got an email from James Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just realized that like,
He's
oh gosh,
dog,
these are people. Like, it's a dude.
Oh, totally. They're all like that.
Yeah. And now he lives in Nashville, right? Or where is he live?
No, he's in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Dude,
Okay.
what is he doing?
Yeah.
He works for L Acoustics, so he's a specialist with Elisa.
Oh,
James is?
Yeah, there's like two guys, Chris Sully and him, and
Oh yeah, I know Chris.
any kind of big Elisa projects, they run all that for L
That's
Acoustics.
so awesome.
Is he American?
He's from Australia.
Yeah.
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 Interesting.
But I remember seeing United and just like being like, oh my gosh.
One of the best mixes I ever heard was him.
Dude.
I flew to Phoenix to see the Empires tour
Oh yeah.
because it was creating a buzz online, and I'm like, I have to go see the show.
it was sick. I saw it.
And I swear to you, it was one of the best sounding shows I've ever been to. And I've told him that. And then he took the job with L Acoustics because United was slowing down a little, and he got that opportunity and felt like it was his time. He was the guy from day one. So he was there 16 years. So when people say like
2003.
Lee mixes for United, part of me is like, well, like, let's get something clear here. Like, that's a very new thing. And I haven't done a show with them in like a year and a half because they haven't done a show either.
How many shows have you done?
I'd have to count. Maybe 60.
Oh, okay. So it's not like 5.
No.
Yeah.
I've been to Europe and a couple of tours in America.
Okay.
I think that's maybe a right number. They do about 30 a year, and it was a couple of years before we took a break. So, so something like that. But James is a dear friend.
Yeah.
And
Did you mix for the Outcry tour?
no.
Okay. James, just a story before I had to check first because of what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
It was like Elevation.
Yeah.
Remember the Outcry tour?
Yeah.
Dude, Hillsong was last. And I was just at the point that I was like critically listening. You know what I mean? And I was like,
What year is that?
It'd been like 2018 or something.
it was the year I got married. So it was probably 2018. Yeah, I got married in 2017 and it would be the next summer. We didn't have any kids yet. Dude. The delta between the delta, dude.
The Delta.
The delta was crazy. When Hillsong came up, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never heard sound like this. And I just heard 4 other shows, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just, I remember Taya's vocal in the PA, and I was like, good Lord, this guy is a magician.
Yeah.
I was super, super impressed, dude.
Yeah, and he's a great guy too.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
It was the best live sound I had heard to date. So that was a cool moment. And now you mix for that band.
Yes,
I
you
know,
do.
and it's an absolute, like, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
You know, doing what we do. It's I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Top of the mountain.
Yeah, it feels that way, you know, and I feel really lucky. Like when I got the phone call, I hung up and cried, legitimately cried.
Wow.
I'm not afraid to say that. I just felt like this kid from a trailer park in Tennessee who like only dreamed of whatever I could do to not go work in a factory. I was willing to do.
Yeah.
That's legit. And so the fact that I was in love with music and that's been able to be how I provide for my family and make a living, it's like, it feels unfair sometimes. And then that to feel like then to hit the peak of that mountain personally for me, like that band, it was crazy, you know? And it was like a few weeks of like, it's an audition. It wasn't like we want you to be the guy. It was,
We want to try you out
let's
for a
try
little
you
run.
out. Yeah. And we'll probably try some other people. You know, they left the door wide open. And
Who called you?
Pippet did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I get out there and I don't know, we're maybe like 10 days in or so. And they're all golfers, but Joel's a big golfer. So he never came to sound check. And I told him not to, like, dude, go play golf. Like, I can check your Beta 58. You know, it's not that big a deal.
It's just the chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're in Minneapolis. I'll never forget this. And no one had come to front of house and listened yet, other than Pippet and tour manager. And we start sound check. And sound check's really just to make sure like things are working.
Yeah.
It's not like a rehearsal.
Guys, we need to learn the songs.
Yeah, no. And
Do you know that line for the
Second
stand?
bridge.
Do you know the?
I see Joel walk in, and I'm like, oh. And he doesn't walk on stage. Like drums and stuff are going on, the band's playing, and he starts walking towards front house. And I was like, here it is.
Yep.
It's going down. So he comes out and he stands right beside me, and they run a song, Jad singing, and luckily it's sounding really good that day. I'm pretty happy with it. Not that it didn't ever, but it's a good day. Some arenas, you just
it's tough. Yeah.
You go to Rupp Arena, like have fun with that. You know, there's places that are not easy.
Yeah.
And that arena in Minneapolis sounds good, and everything was working that day. So they finished the song, and I just kind of like, got any feedback? And he goes, dude, don't change anything. I was like, for real? Don't just say that. Like, I want feedback. He's like, no, man, it's freaking great. Don't change anything. And I was just like, you know.
Dude.
But then I was like, are you sure? Because I use a lot of reverb. It's not typical what you guys have done before. It was a little drier. And he was like, no, I actually love it, and I'm glad you did. Like, I don't.
Dude.
He's like, Chiselet doesn't like a lot of reverb on stuff, and he and I fight about it, and I like it. And I was like,
he's not here right now. He's on stage.
Yeah, he's on stage.
Chiselet's on stage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
bro.
amazing.
So that
moment.
was it.
And you were validated by Joel Houston, dude.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And then he walks off. You know, we did probably another song or something, and he walks off. And then sound checks over a handful of minutes after that. And then I get a phone call. They're like, hey, come backstage, talk to whoever it was. And I get back there, and he was like, hey, we're not going to audition any more people. Joel wants you to be the guy. What do you think?
Awesome.
And I was like, sign me up. Let's go.
Let's go.
That was it.
That's great, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think the biggest part of it, though, was like the chemistry. You know, I think
It
they
was
could
there with
find
the
a
team.
good engineer, but we were all really got along. You know, out on, whether it was on the golf course or hanging out on the bus or the locker rooms and all the things. Like, there's just a lot of really good chemistry. They're really great people.
That's cool, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about any nerdy stuff that people really want to hear
They
about?
really do want to hear the nerdy stuff.
Yeah. All right. What about we do kind of like we did on that Q&A one where we just ask random questions around like mixing stuff.
Yes.
That's cool.
We'll just ask him to lead, and then if you want to counter with anything,
Like, put me in the hot seat with some gear.
yeah, yeah. Mix,
Desert Island plug-in. High pass filter.
that's filter.
Can I move the mic, and do I have a high pass filter? We're good.
Yeah.
What's the one? We just
F6.
Emo
F6.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. All right. Here it comes. All right. So when you think about mixing vocals,
Yeah.
tell me the process of your vocal chain.
Okay.
And if you could use any plugins like in a DAW or Waves, thinking live, you're stuck with Waves most of the time. What is it?
Well, as soon as you said that, I'm thinking about the microphone.
Yeah, go for it.
So, what's the stage size? What's the band? How far away are the drums? How many other singers are there? Where's the PA?
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you what microphone
Context.
I'd like, because all that matters.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
I've done it enough to where I would narrow the list down in my head already to like, here's the 2 or 3 I would start with.
Okay.
Beta 58, 105.
Norman?
Yeah. And I do like having the DPA as an option because singers, I've just found that they love it in their ears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really do. It's boring sounding to me out front. It's just too clean.
I feel that too.
Do you really?
Yes.
It's just like,
he used it on Abby's tour and
it's
had a lot of feelings
pretty,
about it.
okay?
Yeah.
It's a pretty microphone. It has no character. It sounds correct.
Yeah.
The Neumann's got a little like spank on the top end.
Yeah, the top is hype.
And the 58, I just feel like, man, let's do a freaking rock show, and it's not going to feedback ever. You can put them in front of the PA, and I'll have it 108 dB, and it's not going to feedback.
Yeah.
So
I feel that same way. If I can pick, of course, like the context is super important.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I'm not doing like tours and stuff. I don't want to do tours.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like, it's not a bucket list
upper
thing.
room stuff.
Yeah.
but
Like,
those are
okay,
events.
those are more like, we're traveling and we're here to like minister to the conference, whatever it is. But like with Abby's tour, I was like, well, it's a small stage. We're doing like clubs, like super small clubs.
Okay.
Like bars and clubs.
Yeah.
And okay, so the de facto is my first choice. I had one. And then we used an SM58 for one night because I felt like there was something gritty happening in the de facto that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And ended up like working it out, and just towards as we go, it worked out. But I always can, like the tone of the Neumann
Yeah.
It's just there. It's like
I know,
there
man.
it is.
It's
It's like you
fantastic.
do a little low end scoop and then the top end leave it.
It doesn't have the crazy proximity effect the
Yeah.
KSM9 has.
And that's,
Yeah.
dude, if you've ever seen, I don't know how familiar you are with Upper Room, but like we're very charismatic people. And
Yeah.
mic proximity is more of a fluid concept.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we can like really get far back and, but
So you're just
Same
riding that high
Dude,
pass and low mid
it
cut. all
literally,
day.
it's just the low mid cut. And that's
330
with-
minus 12
Yeah.
or 6. Where are we going?
That's
Exactly.
great, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then like that same idea is, I've noticed that when we have that, like Aaron Tedeschi can be
Dude, I just mixed
3
for him the
feet,
other day.
3 whole feet from
But
the mic.
that dude puts out
And
some
it's just-
SPL out of his
Yes.
out of his being.
It's true.
It's
Yeah.
wild.
Anyway, but it's like that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I don't have to like work as hard to like on that fader,
Yeah.
But anyway,
The de facto I'm mixing at this church a lot that has all de factos, and I think the thing that's special about it is the low end.
It's very smooth.
I think the low end is mega smooth. Like if a speaking mic was held like this, I could probably make it sound like one of these in the PA.
I agree.
Just because like the low end is very like rich. It's the upper mids and top end. There's just like nothing special. It's just kind of there.
It's just there.
And then the S is not like a Beta 87. It's more like the smooth, silky sound than the bright, which is why you can boost the top end. You can mega compress and stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
but I get what you're saying. There is something kind of boring about it. I don't know why it works in the ears
I
so
have a theory.
great.
I have a
but
theory.
What?
it's full.
People's intermixes suck so bad already that's a stable
It just feels
sounding
stable. Yeah, that makes sense.
microphone that's
Yeah.
easy to process.
Yeah.
So like don't screw it up.
Like John Wild's record just came out and he's singing on it and he puts out a lot of that man puts out a lot of volume like we mixed for him. His gain is like 15 to be lower than everyone else. And I thought he sounded so good on it, and
Yeah.
he's like, he's playing keys, he's doing this. So I think that's a great mic, but I
just
hear
like
your point.
the live mix to have some color, you know.
Yeah.
I don't love the over processed sound a lot of live engineers are doing right now. It's
Yeah.
a preference thing. Like if it works for you, then great.
Yeah.
I do like it a little more aggressive. Aggressive's not the right word.
Natural.
I want it to sound more like a live show.
Yeah.
That sounds insulting. I don't mean it to be like, well, my live show sounds live. That's not what I'm trying to
There's no
say.
track.
We're not
in this
live
live
enough for
show.
you, Lee?
Right. I did. Okay. Funny.
Where was that accent?
We're not live enough for you?
The funniest thing, I did a couple weeks with Switchfoot last year.
Oh my
Really?
gosh.
Yeah.
Bro.
Dude, you're the coolest person in the world.
You are like hitting the Mount Rushmore for me right now.
Yes.
Come on.
I said yes to that because it was another it's Switchfoot.
Yes.
Like I did this
Right.
club tour in Canada in the Northeast with them. Anyway, so they don't have tracks at
Yeah.
all. They do use a click. And we finished the first sound check of the first show and on the bus that night and John's like, "Hey, what'd you think?" And I was like, "Dude, you guys are awesome. It's like a real rock band. Like this no tracks thing I could get used to." And he goes, "Yeah, we like to make our own mistakes."
That's great.
Like that's freaking
well
good.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he said that.
Yeah.
Dude,
What
yeah.
do you think? This is a mic question. What do you
Yep.
have you used the Earthworks SR117 or whatever it's called?
Yeah, so
What do you think about it?
I immediately shut it down because of bleed.
Okay.
So that's usually the first thing I'm listening for
Yeah.
is
How bad's the bleed?
how bad's the bleed,
So
and it's real bad.
We A-B'd it. Remember that Gateway Spanish record that I did a couple
Oh,
years
yeah,
ago?
you never told me the results of that.
We A-B'd it with the 105, the De Facto, and the Earthworks.
Yeah.
And the producer wanted the Earthworks.
He said it was tighter than the 105.
Or that then the De Facto, yes. The 105 is not tight necessarily.
No,
It's-
I don't
Wait,
think
A-B'd
it
it
is.
regarding
he picked that over the other two. He
just
picked the
tone, not
Earthworks.
necessarily bleed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there was a live
yeah.
kid on stage at Gateway, so it's like a
You
half
did,
circle.
that show I came to, the Gateway one, that
was
was
all
all on the
Earthworks.
Earthworks? Interesting. Well,
I
that
did-
stage is huge.
I did a bleed shootout
Okay.
with KSM9, a 105, De Facto, Telefunken,
Okay.
Earthworks.
M80.
Yeah, and the the M80 is dynamic, isn't it?
Yes.
The bleed's still crazy.
Wow.
It's insane.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't like the way it sounds.
Yeah,
It's
the
like
M80s.
They're trying way too hard to make it sound cool.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
no, you went the wrong way. The 105 was actually good on bleed.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was
Interesting.
fine.
I've not had.
He has way more data points than us.
If I can pick the 105, I will.
Yeah, agreed.
Like,
It won't fail.
But I remember us like being in because there's a live kid on stage. Ish is playing drums, and we tested them out, and Kyle liked Kyle Lee. He's
it was probably the
Grammy-winning producer.
Was
Yeah,
it
I
in
know
the
Kyle.
PA though? You were being in the PA.
And he was up in the studio listening.
I recorded them. So, and it wasn't a very scientific test.
It was just Lee.
I had
what
a
Lee
drummer
thinks.
playing
Yeah.
and then a human standing in front of each microphone.
Nice.
And just captured like 30 seconds of each and put them in the same place. So if the drummer decided to play 2 dB quieter that pass, I wouldn't necessarily know. So
No,
it was
but
not
that's
super
pretty-
scientific.
Yeah.
But I didn't care about this. I don't care what happens when they are away from it. It was more about
On
when they're
axis.
singing and it's got to be
Yeah.
102 dB or whatever, or that's
Yeah,
a lot
whatever.
for church. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the microphone. 10
yeah,
minutes
give me
later,
through the
so
rest of the
then a high pass filter and an EQ. I love the Neve 1073 EQ plugin right now.
The Waves one.
Yeah, but just for that 330 hertz cut. I've said that a lot in the last few years. I stole this
try that.
from Chris Raybold. He played back for me in multiple cities the best sounding live vocal I've ever heard. And he recorded it in a room probably smaller than this. Drum kit, a rug this size, the drum kit, a singer, maybe a keys player and a guitar player. And the singer's here and the drum kit is right there. And it's a Beta 58. And I heard those tracks back. And that's one of the best sounding vocals I've ever heard in my life.
Yikes.
And it was high pass to 200 and something. And he had that 330 cut and a compressor.
Yeah.
And it is so freaking good.
Does the 1073 have a high pass?
Yeah.
It does have one.
Is that
Yeah.
the one you use, or you use?
No,
the
I'll
console?
use the console because if waves goes down,
Yeah, you need
I
that.
want the high pass filter to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all level matched.
Okay, so 1073, you just do it for that cut,
Just that cut. I will use the like 1, 2, or 3K.
for a little cut.
Yeah, I've found like not many vocals don't need another cut. Like there's going to be another one.
Up
It
there.
could be boxy at 900 or it could be 3K. You know, it's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It's going to be
How
there.
wide is the 1073? I'd imagine it's pretty general.
I think it's pretty
Pretty
wide, I bet.
Yeah.
But
It's not a
you can
scientific
actually
answer.
change the key.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You can change the key.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
use 1073 often. I know what it is. I know it has the 4 knobs, and then they're double knobs.
It's
I
not
know
like
that.
very.
It's like the
live.
550A.
A lot of guys don't use it live.
No, they don't. I think it got overlooked for a long time. Yeah, I got Lucas using it now on his vocals.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
He had it on there and I'm like, "You do this just for me?" He's like, "Nope, 3 months. Like it." I'm like, "Okay."
Lucas is a creative. He's a type 7 too. He has
Okay.
to keep trying new things.
Yep.
But,
Well, trying new gear does help me like want to keep learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
sure.
good.
The discipline is like actually judging the outcome
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not
Yeah.
like this sounds better because I'm using this new plugin.
I turn my knob here, and
Yeah.
I hear a difference. It's amazing.
Yes. All right, 1073. What's next?
1176. It's just so hard for me to get away from the 76 2A combo.
Do you peg them? The 76, the attack and release, do you peg them, or do you bring the attack a little bit
I got attack in the middle.
in the middle?
Yeah.
All right, that's really fast.
Release real fast.
Yep, yep.
As fast as it'll go.
Okay.
Which the slowest release on a 76 is sometimes faster than any other compressor still. It's super fast.
When you turn, and it's backwards too. It's like 1 to
backwards,
7.
you turn it to the right.
Yeah,
to go
so you got to
fast.
turn the top one to peg it, slowest attack, fastest release.
Yeah.
Top one goes all the way to like 7 o'clock, and then the release goes to like 5
I'll
o'clock.
almost
o'clock.
never like when you hit. I'll start with like the slow attack fast release setting from CLA. Of course, everyone learned that like he's like, here's what you do. Draw it up. Sounds great.
Yeah.
New thing. Need some more
All
top end.
Italian
Boom.
about it.
Like,
It just works.
yeah.
That guy.
He's like, yeah.
Boost the 8K. Just
Put it in my 76 loop. Boom. Done. There it is. I'm like, okay, bro.
he's just
chill.
like boom.
I know.
And he's like, a little dark. Need some top end. Like, pegs.
I know.
That guy's a gangster at Geneva. Look
Well,
at
just to get the cut through, add 2K, a million dB.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then
turn it to the rat.
Oscar's calling me. Anyway, but I saw that and I was like, okay.
Is this gonna be a
Is that air
problem?
conditioner's gonna be a problem?
No, it's not going to be a problem, but I can turn off.
How
my
much
phone.
time are we at?
I like it. Content for days.
Yeah, dude, this is great.
It's 72 in here. I thought I moved it
Feels
higher. Yeah. The hurricane arrived It'll be fine.
Okay.
But so I start there with that slow attack, fast release, and then if the vocal needs more, I used to have a 2A after that, but
why did you go away from that
I kind of
again?
moved away from it because I felt like if it's me, just me, then sure, I'll do it. But if I'm mixing in a place that has 10 other people mixing, or like in our
gets
case,
messed up.
when we have engineers
it totally can.
jumping on our file, like I don't want anyone to just get
Because
hit.
how hard and the ratio will change
Exactly.
the 2A peak setting.
All of that stuff. So I but I like the 2A. I'll use it on its own most of the time, and I'll go like between 5 and 10 dB-ish, but with depending on the vocal, the high pass function.
Lucas had them backwards this morning, so I changed everything he was doing on the band side. I did leave the vocals because you know why? We didn't sound check.
Yes.
So I'm like, well, I'm not screwing with these with this monster PA. So I left them. But he had them backwards. He had 2A first, then 76.
I know a gangster engineer who does that.
It was super squash, though. It was just...
See, what he was saying is the 2A's attack is faster.
The attack is.
So what he was saying was, and he was more gentle than that. But the guy, he's a really, really good mixer. And he was saying, if you do that first and it's just catching peaks, you're in more of an RMS mode with the 76. You're in more of a peak mode, and it's better to get rid of the peaks first, because then you're feeding those peaks into your RMS compressor, which logically did make sense to me.
He is smart. I don't know who you're talking about, but he's brilliant.
Yeah.
I do that with EQ, though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's another way to do it.
Exactly.
It's the low-mid buildup in the vocal will affect the way the 76 sounds.
The way his vocals translated,
Before.
his vocals, I heard him mix in the studio and live sound. His pop mixes are nasty, this guy. And I was like, okay, maybe I should try that. But I do better with RVox and then the 76 or 2A.
I used to do those three in that order.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think live, just for the same reason you keep the high pass on the console.
Yeah.
Like RVox, just so the gate obviously, but then the gain.
Yeah.
Like if you just need push, like in a moment, if for some reason the vocalist, like especially, I like verse vocals to just like feel like a record and be like right in there.
Front,
None of that
too.
low stuff. I
None
like
of the
getting
low.
them up there, dude.
Me
I
too.
like that when everyone's like, it's got everyone like this. You know what I mean? And that RVox, if in the service for some reason they have less steam, you just bring that down like 2 dB and then all of a sudden it's just there.
Yeah.
You can even bring it back and you didn't touch 4 knobs. You just went like this.
I do that with a parallel compression fader
On what?
That's great.
on the vocal.
That's a good idea.
But you should see my EQ on the parallel. I'm scooping everything from 1 to 10K. Like
Oh, you're saying you add another channel that's parallel and that's what you do it with.
Interesting.
Oh,
So it's only adding that 2 to 600 to get it forward.
that's sick. That's
That's
We don't do
interesting.
any of that.
Yeah. No, I don't do. I typically have in the studio, at least when I'm doing vocal parallel stuff, if I'm adding EQ to it, it puts it out of phase with itself sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I found it to be.
If you get it right,
Yeah.
you just have to time align those. Do you do the parallel chain and waves as well?
It depends. If the console does delay compensation, Yamaha, yes.
Yes.
If it's Digico, has to go out.
Yep.
Got it. What's your favorite desk?
We're
We're not done with the vocal chain, but
it's Yamaha. Don't clip that without me saying the rest of why. Because I want
Guys,
the
it's
console.
Yamaha. Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
We'll let Gabriel add that in.
I'm
'cause
not.
He will add that.
Yeah, I'm not a Yamaha guy.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, you're a Yamaha guy." Like, no, I'm a whatever gear works guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is so stinking reliable. The
Yes.
thing that drives me crazy is like troubleshooting patching or devices not working or showing up during time that I could be working on mixing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the Yamaha, it's the one I found to be the most reliable with those parameters.
We're
right?
in agreement there.
I
Yep.
think
I agree with
as
that, too.
far as like great sounding
Wow.
desk, I think it and the SSL are probably
Yeah.
the best sounding desk. If I have a complex system and I need to do some like really intricate stuff and there's a lot going on, Digico just rules, right?
Yeah.
Just does everything the best. The Digico also sounds good.
Yeah.
And it's not going to color your stuff in a way that it's not going to
Detrimental.
color anything at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Unless you get out of hand with those digitubes.
that's true.
but you would decide that.
My favorite desk, honestly, the surface of the 338 is incredible.
Yeah.
It may be my favorite surface.
Yeah.
I haven't mixed on the Quantum 8 yet. It looks like it would then be my favorite.
It looks like Candyland.
So the 5, would you take the PM10 or the PM5?
The 10, and there's a reason.
Why?
So I don't have to have the 3 screens on the 5, but the reason on the 10 is the 2 rows of encoders and 2 function buttons.
Dude.
That's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And the user-defined keys and 4 user-defined knobs I use a lot. No, the 5 has that too. I also like having the actual screen for the channel label, not having to look up at the screen on the 5 to see what channel you're on.
Oh, dude, I hate that. That's why the Avantis is junk to me.
Yeah.
Because it's just junk to me because you have to look to see the channel. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Also, it's always reminding you that it's not
a D-Live?
a D-Live.
Every moment it reminds you, dude. It's like, nope, you actually have to hold function to do the width.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here, dude.
Yeah.
No, but that's a good point. I think the X32 and M32 like actually hit hard beyond their effect stuff sounding strangely really good.
Yeah.
I think the place that they hit really hard is those 4 encoder knobs on the right.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah.
I
And
think
the way they do effects, right? It's like inserts.
dude,
There's no send return.
That plate reverb, I'm
It is
going
send
way
return.
off right now.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in return, but it's sick. Like, and those encoders, like, if you can just get away in like any scenario. I could have like my main reverbs. I've had times where I didn't even put them on faders. I just used those and I rode them because
That's
they're
cool.
right here.
Yeah.
I got my tap. I can mute easily if because typically I'll want like my reverb DCA. I'll put the DCA on a reverb. I'll put the reverb on a DCA. I'll put the delay on a DCA, and then I'll have an effects DCA. So then, like, once
Okay.
I have them blended, I can just go up and down.
Yeah.
You know, if they start talking, I don't have to move both. I'll just whatever.
Yeah.
But there, you just keep the effects one, and you could have those 4 encoders. Mm-hmm. And I think that's sick. I don't know. As far as M32 goes, I think that's my favorite feature. But okay, so
People sleep on how good they sound too.
Yeah, they sound great.
It's like
Yeah.
shocking. It's like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
M32 in the
And
right
the-
context.
when you
can
get the
slap.
DL251 Midas Breeze,
Even better.
those are like great. These
Yeah.
are great preamps.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just talked about consoles. What other nerdy thing can we talk about right now? Did you finish your vocal chain? Okay, so
I mean, pretty much. And
did you
then
say you're the C6 yet?
I don't use it.
You don't use multiband compression?
No, I don't. And so I think sometimes, though, I make decisions based on I know other people are going to want to know what I'm doing. And I can't emphasize enough fundamentals and keeping things simple.
So you're kind of
'Cause I
being
feel like
a purist.
I'm very, very committed to people being better at this craft. I'm obsessed with it. But I also, like, if I'm hired to do a job, then it's got to be the best that it can be also, right? So
Yeah.
I have to be careful not to, like, I'm not going to fix this vocal with a dynamic EQ because I'm not putting that on Instagram.
Because you want to practice what you preach.
Right.
I will
Yeah.
use the C4. I think I like the C4 more than the C6. But
Yeah. I like C6 more than F6.
Oh, dude, yeah.
as,
That
as
sounds weird.
like for the
It
dynamic
does
portion.
sound weird. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I just use the floating bands of the C6.
Yeah.
I don't use the
You
other
only
stuff.
use the floating bands.
Yeah.
We never use floating bands.
Because
We
I'm
only
because
use
I'm
the
a
multi-band.
C4 guy.
Yeah, we use C4 mostly.
Okay.
Which is
But-
weird. But sorry.
Yeah.
So you were saying
I'll use it when I have to,
Yeah.
but I will not
stock
like,
load
here's
your
my-
session with
no,
that.
Yeah.
No.
There's
When I'm a new band, like the United show file I built, I put one on everybody because I didn't want to waste time loading something. So I just have stuff on there just in
Yeah.
case I want it. But
You're
then
not. It's not.
I think I left it for Taya, like it was on there all the time.
Yeah.
And then no one else had it.
I'm talking
she's
like
got that.
range like 2 or 3 dB, like super
Yeah,
mild.
That's how we roll.
And I do it last. Like if I
Yeah.
can't control it with EQ and something else is going on,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
Well, yeah, a
Fundamentals.
singer like a singer.
Yeah, right.
I think.
Or
I
the
think,
mic technique. I mean, there could be
Yeah.
a lot of things going on where you could need to change it all the time. But
If you're like Tom, you hold your mic like a British rapper.
Yes, that's just
What's up?
because of my
What's up?
culture. The I was just gonna say a singer like Taya, and we have a couple at Upper Room. A singer like Taya, with that much SPL,
Yeah,
that
it's
much
insane.
power, and
Yeah.
that much range, like the amount of 3 kilohertz that a human face can produce.
Yeah.
Seeing that loud, that
Yeah,
high, you
right.
need a. If you can't dynamically control that, the vocal's going to be dark when she's singing.
Right.
You call me out upon the. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way.
No, yeah. I do that manually, the low mid stuff. So it's more the high mid when it gets too loud for
Yeah.
the dynamics.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And she's could be out 50 feet in front of the PA. I mean,
Okay.
all kinds of other issues with
Making
that.
your life really fun.
Yeah. Then it's like low pass. Like I'm not afraid to low pass a vocal either
Yeah.
to stop feedback.
Is that stuff fun for you? Like challenges like that, or do you get stressed out?
Yeah, I think again, like sports, I feel like if I'm mixing somewhere and there's been like feedback problems, I feel like I just faced the closing pitcher and hit a home run.
Yeah.
If I got through this with no feedback at 2 dB louder than everyone.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit like,
Yep. That's me. Yeah.
you gotta have. I think
Take notes, fellas.
There's some like healthy
Of course.
to that
It's
and some
competitive nature.
toxic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
It's achieving.
right.
Yeah. I do like that.
It's cool.
All right. Any other questions you want to ask Lee? He is here with us. I mean,
know.
we're going to talk a bunch of mixing while we joke.
Captive audience, huh?
Um,
I think I want to know what your target typically when you're in a you're in an arena, right? You got United on stage.
Yeah.
What are you trying to hit SPL wise, or is that even a factor? Is
It's
it
not
just
a factor.
what feels good?
Just what feels good.
That's what I do.
Yeah, I got some friends that
Yeah.
mix like some big acts,
Yeah.
and the numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
But they're being told to do that.
Crazy
too.
low or high?
High.
oh,
Like
I've
they're
heard
cruising at
110.
105 and they
Oh,
get up
yeah.
to 110. You know, Metallica's like that loud right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Is that Ken? Who's
Metallica
who's the
is
front
Greg Price.
house? Okay. Yeah. Dude.
I
Does he
went
wear
and hung out with
earplugs?
Pooch when he was mixing Jay-Z. This is a long time ago. I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. And the show's about to start, and he hands me a set of earplugs. And no one's ever done that. And I was like, for real? He's like, trust me. I was like, okay. And it was loud.
Yeah.
It was real
Does
loud.
he,
I ended up taking them
was
out.
he using them?
I don't remember. I don't want to say one way or the other. It's possible. I don't remember. The loudest show I've ever been to is Ariana Grande, but it was the crowd. It wasn't the
Yeah.
PA.
Yeah.
oh, dude. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
For
It was
sure.
like end of year.
We're dealing with that right now, actually. Yes.
It was like 114.
Oh
The
my
crowd
gosh.
hit 114. I was at front of house and watched it and was like,
Oh,
like
it's
the
her
show
vocal,
was like 103 to 107 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had, as Toby was mixing,
Mm-hmm.
and he had 3 channels for her vocal on stage, halfway out the catwalk, and fully at the end of the catwalk.
That's clever.
Yep.
That's clever.
Just
Yeah.
EQ a little bit different.
Wow, the
smart.
one was a little. Yeah.
So I think the best show I've ever seen was for sure Coldplay. They were awesome to watch. The mix was challenging to listen to because it was like 105, 108,
Yeah.
and not any of the good frequencies,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
it was
Was
just
that the last tour, the current one?
it
the
was-
2 guys
it
that
was
used
2
to
years
mix for
ago.
them don't anymore.
I
was-
saw that show.
It was
He doesn't mix for them anymore?
Daniel Green?
Yeah.
I don't think he does. I thought I heard this last tour he didn't do, but maybe that was just a
Oh,
rumor.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
saw that tour in New York.
Music of the Spheres, and it was outside. We were at the Cotton Bowl, and me and Lucas was there. It was
I saw it at the Meadowlands with United.
yeah.
Yeah.
The show is unreal.
The show's unreal.
It's like
The experience.
ridiculous. In spite of all that stuff, I'm still in it, jumping around.
Yeah, I think he was challenged that day, is what I would say. Whoever was mixing.
Yeah,
Whoever.
maybe.
I know those 2 guys, Daniel Green and Rick Simpson, mixed all their stuff for a long time. But
Yeah.
you reminded me. Remember when we did the thing at the casino? The only like secular thing we've done for AudioLink yet was this one client had a contract with this casino. So it was like a dude through a church was like, "Hey, I do these live shows outside for this." It was actually an MGM casino, and
In
this mix,
Massachusetts.
this sounds so sick.
Yeah.
Would you mix for our shows? And we built like a outdoor rig. And it was like on this Meyer PA. So I went to calibrate. And honestly, dude, like I knew what they had. It was an M32. We were sharing everything. And like, I knew what they had to be dealing with once I like got vibes, and I was feeling myself. I was like, yo, this has to be cooking them. And the dude that was there, he wasn't the boss. He was like looking at me like, yo, this sounds amazing. And we were like, okay. And I was just mixing how we do. Like we mix at like 90. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this is a concert. Maybe I'll push to like RMS like 94.
Yeah.
You know, our mixes, no vocals are like RMS like 88. And
Yeah.
and like I put everything up and all the people were there. And the boss comes out and he's like, turn it up. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like everyone's like nodding their heads and stuff. Like, this is fine. And he was like, turn it up. And I was like, so I keep pushing it. And he didn't stop until I was like RMS like 103. And I honestly felt like some people's response was more. Then I was just watching everybody. I had the mix stabilized. It was like a 4-piece band. But I guess like when people go to a concert, for some reason, they just want to like feel the sound.
I think there's an energy expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't vibe with that very much. I'm more in the party of, it's like, if it feels right, everyone's responding well. That's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think something does happen to a room when you get over that like 94, 95, 96 range. There's something tangible about the energy level if it's good.
Yeah.
If the mix is right, there's something about it like...
It's a true physical experience.
Yeah, correct.
The waves going through your body are like big boys.
Right. I went to a wedding last week in Atlanta, and the DJ band rig was a D&B PA. You know the T box?
The
little
for
T?
a DJ.
The T box is nasty.
1 T on a pole on each side. 6 D&B single 18 subs.
The S8 or whatever.
Slamming, bro.
Dude, he probably ended some...
That seems like a good equation.
It was
2
awesome.
tops, 6 subs.
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
right.
that's
it was for
crazy.
an audio guy and a worship leader that
That's
got
fun.
married. You know Jay and Melody? You know them?
No, I don't
Jay
know
Desai. Melody, now Desai. She's the female lead worship leader for Passion,
Okay.
Okay, nice.
and he's a fellow audio guy, tour manager.
That's
That's
awesome.
sick, dude.
Yeah.
Well done.
Bro, this was so fun, bro.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I had fun. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you so much for joining us. And I am grateful that honestly we're not the only people in this space. I know there's more, but like that really, really care about like making church audio specifically a great experience just because of how central it is to ministry taking place. And it's just so cool that you have all this experience, that you're like this elite guy and you're a successful businessman, but you still care about this stuff. It's like amazing. So
I appreciate that.
thanks for being who you
of
are,
course.
bro.
That's all I know how to be.
Awesome, dude. Fun. Adios, guys.